Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Today I will read you a story from the book titled Secret Recipe Box by Helal Musleh. Helal's family hails from the small village of Atal in Palestine. She dedicated this story to her grandmothers. Today I would like to dedicate the story to all the beautiful, strong, and resilient grandmothers of Palestine. Secret Recipe Box. Early Saturday morning, I swing my legs off my bed, rub my eyes and grin. Today is special because I'll be seeing my grandmother after a very long time. We are picking Teta up from the airport and helping her move into her new home. Here's a secret. Her new home is actually our house because we'll all be living together. I'm going to ask Teta to teach me how to cook Palestinian food. My dream is to have my own cooking show someday. I try to practice in the kitchen at home, but my baby brother Sami is always ruining my recipes. At the airport, Sami wants to hold one side of the welcome sign I made, but I pull it away because I know he'll crumble the edges. We wait and wait, watching so many faces and suitcases zoom past. Finally, there she is. Her long dress swishes as she walks, and her eyes light up when she sees us. "Maha, Sami," Teta says, "you have grown so much." She holds us tight and kisses our foreheads. On the way home, Teta peers out of the car window. I point out the library and park on our street, the small grocery store where we buy our spices and halal meat, and the women's gym where my mom exercises. "What's that place?" Teta asks when we stop at a red light. "It's a place that serves warm food for free to those in need," Mama answers. I look at the long lineup of people waiting to get inside. Some of them aren't dressed very warmly. I shiver just looking at them and zip my jacket all the way up to my chin. At home, Teta pulls Sami and me into her lap for another tight hug. I feel the small hard beads on a colorful dish dasher rub against my cheek. After drinking a cup of mint tea, Teta pulls a faded wooden box out of a suitcase and runs a hand over the lid. "All my secret recipes are in this box," she whispers to us. "And some special memories too. I've been saving them for my grandchildren." Wow! My cooking dreams are starting to come true. I can already picture my popular Palestine cooking show airing on the Food Channel. I quickly grab the box and hold onto it tightly. I don't want Sami to think we are sharing this. At night, I fall asleep with the recipe box perched on the nightstand right next to my bed. I can't wait for tomorrow. The sun has barely risen when I wake up to the sound of shuffling in the kitchen downstairs. I grab the recipe box and race downstairs in my PJs. Sami is following Teta around in the kitchen. "Good morning, Maha," Teta says. "Shall we make some of my famous bread today?" "Yes," I say instantly, rolling up my sleeves. Sami jumps up too. "First, we start by filling a bowl with flour," says Teta. "This is just the way my mom taught me." I dump the flour into the bowl and a white powdery cloud floats up and tickles my nose. "Next," Teta says, "we add some yeast and salt. Then we slowly pour in some warm water and a bit of olive oil." I dip my hands into the bowl and feel all the goopy ingredients ooze between my fingers. I mix and squish everything together until it forms a big ball of dough. Teta tells me to knead the dough with my knuckles to make it soft. "Now," Teta says with a smirk, "move aside and let me work my magic." I look on in amazement as Teta rolls out the dough and then expertly spins it in the air until it looks like a flying saucer. We pop it straight into the oven, and Sami peeks through the little oven window to watch the dough balloon up. This smell reminds me of the big clay oven my mom used in our village of Atal in Palestine, Teta says. She baked bread over a real fire and everyone would enjoy the delicious smell. But if they smelled the bread, did that mean you had to share, I ask? Of course, she replies. We were happy to. Our village was like one big family. No matter where we lived or what troubles we faced, we always found ways to share what we had. Teta rifles around in the recipe box and pulls out an old piece of embroidered black fabric. It has beautiful red thread sewn across it. My sisters and I used to sew these wonderful patterns on our clothes. The pattern represents each of us coming together as one to create something special. I look over at Sami and I wonder if we could ever work together like that. Back in the kitchen, we make more of Teta's recipes using the fluffy dough. We spread an olive oil and za'atar mixture on some pieces of dough. We sprinkle halloum cheese on others. Then we cover some of the dough with ground beef, pine nuts, and tomatoes. Sami is dropping ingredients all over the counter, but he has a huge smile on his face, so I tell him he's doing a great job. While we wait for the oven timer to beep, Teta shows us some old photos of her village. My favorite is a black and white picture of Baba and his sister standing in front of an old olive tree. They look just like Sami and me. We pull the different golden puffy breads out of the oven and impatiently wait for them to cool. Then we break off bits and pieces of each kind. Teta dips hers in hummus while I like to eat mine plain. As we rub our full tummies, we look over at the piles of bread lining the kitchen counters. I think I made too much, Teta says. I am used to sharing with a lot of people. Later, as I help Mama scrub the dishes, I think about how Teta shares so much, her secret recipes, her bright memories, and her tight hugs. The cold tap water runs over my hands and sends a shiver through my body. I remember the people I saw lining up outside the soup kitchen. I dry my hands and race to where Teta is sitting. Teta, I say, your mom's bread filled your village with an amazing smell, and she would share with everyone, right? Can we share our bread too? Teta grins. Without saying a word, she gets up and puts her jacket on. She knows exactly what I am thinking. Baba drives us to the soup kitchen. There's still a bit of flour on our clothes, but we don't mind. We ask the manager if we can share some of our bread, and he says yes. Sami and I hand out Teta's delicious baked goods. It looks like everyone loves them. The manager shakes our hands. Please come by any time with more of your grandma's delicious bread, he says. In the car, I rest my head on Teta's shoulder and look at Sami. I'm glad we are all together, and I can't wait for our next cooking adventure.